Welcome to another episode of Draft Room. I'm Tom. Today we're here with mixed media and installation artist Taylor McLendon from Low Mill Arts and Entertainment. Taylor, welcome to Draft Room.
Thank you, Tom. It's great to be here with Draft Room.
Hey, so before we get into some of our questions, why don't you give a little bit of background on who you are and how you became an artist at Low Mill?
So Taylor McLendon, the long and the short of the story is I started in visual arts in retail right after I graduated college. So spatial design, planning. It was all about the experience of what the shopper walked through. That was the art form that started me off with this passion for creating experiences. And I worked through that for a long time until I ended up in Huntsville and found my way to Low Mill, and that's where I work out of now, Studio 255.
Yeah, it's such an amazing place, especially here in the South, to have a textile mill transformed into this beautiful space where there's tons of artists, and I'm sure it helps with the creativity part of your studio there. So why don't we talk a little bit about the type of art that you are creating, and then we'll get into some of the stuff that you're doing over there, which is pretty amazing. So talk to everybody about the type of art that you're creating and what you're trying to get across.
So what I do, everything it's feeling based. It's not, I want to paint a pretty picture. I want to excavate the art off the canvas. I want a feeling, I want an emotion, whether it's an experience that I've had personally, or like you saw in the studio, a commission piece that someone tells me their story and then we sit down and hash it out together. But I get to take their emotional story and deliver it to them and this art form. But it's all about texture and memory and tension and release and just in those moments between. But for me, it's all about storytelling.
Right. So let's talk about one particular, the mural you have at Low Mill, which is amazing. It's massive, which is really great.
Huge, right.
And it's on the exterior of the building. So when you're driving by, you can see it.
Right.
Which is cool. So you don't even have to be at the mill to experience your mural. You can be
driving down 9th Street and it's in your face.
So let's talk about that. So it's literally some fingers, the peace symbol. So,
right.
But I loved
Super
what
simple.
you said with that. It's sort of victory, but it's exhausted. And it's not, there's a little bit of tension in there too. So talk to me about that a little bit.
So great space, the 3-story stairwell that the opportunity presented itself. And we did the proposals, turned them in, got the approval to go ahead. But I wanted it to be weathered. I wanted it to look like it was part of the building, like it had been there.
Since the inception of it. Yeah.
Right. I didn't want something to be colorful and bright. So it's distracting coming down 9th Street. I wanted something very natural.
Yeah.
But victory's not always polished and pretty. It can be. But victory is sometimes just simply surviving, and that you can throw those 2 fingers up. That's a win some days.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. So like what you're trying to kind of describe there, even though the end result is victory, there's a story behind it, right? There's this kind of long road it's the sausage being made there, right?
That's right. It's a long road down 9th Street. The neighborhood, what it used to be, what it is now.
I live on 9th Street. I know exactly
what you're right? Like what Low Mill has gone through as a collective through history. It's a victory that the building's still standing.
There you go.
We have the opportunity as artists to be in such a special place. That's a victory. Not every city has something like this.
No,
or the creative arts.
No, and it was kind of brought back from sort of ruins and utilized as a wonderful space to kind of showcase a lot of the really talent that we have here in the South, right?
And we have a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
No, people come from all over for the exhibits, for the gallery space at Low Mill.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
That's great. So let's talk about another piece that you have that's in Gadsden, which is kind of more to your roots.
Yes.
Where you're from.
Where I'm
So talk about that piece that you got going on there.
So it was named Not All Sacrifices Lost. It was 8 feet by 4 foot portrait of Nakalula, the legend of the falls, that she didn't want to marry the man that her dad wanted her to marry. She wanted to marry for love, and she couldn't have her way, so she threw herself off the falls. Sad story, big sacrifice. And so that's her story. That's the legend. But we make sacrifices every day. You as a dad, for your kids, my mom.
Don't I know?
Right? Kids are expensive. I mean, English bulldogs are expensive, so I can relate there. But it was not just about, I wanted people to feel seen in that, and that
Yeah.
there are always these sacrifices going on around that might not be named, but deserve to be remembered and noticed.
Yeah, that's great. So I want to talk a little bit about sort of your process for when you're approaching a new project. What one thing I noticed was when I was in your studio that a lot of the original art that you're doing feels very like you put it together very fast. There's
Yes.
a lot of motion in the stuff that you're doing, and but there's a lot of emotion that comes from that. And a lot of the stuff that I saw in your studio are is very personal.
Very personal.
So
Yes. All has a good backstory there, and we won't get into all that. But when you just let go and you're in the moment,
yeah,
when the emotion comes through, it's quick. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's helping put that story onto whatever surface we're working off of. So it doesn't need to be tidy always. It can be, and it can get tighter, but to let it all out and to put it down on the surface is what I try to do there with it.
right. And in the big exhibit that you have going on at the mill right now,
Yes.
I see a lot of that. So it seems very quick,
Quick.
and you get this sort of really visceral reaction to it that I think is really wonderful. I mean, the paintings there are gorgeous, but
Thank you. Thank you.
also they are strong. Like they're very they're, first of all, they're generally little color, right? So
Black and white
yeah,
sprays.
right. And they feel like they're put together fairly quickly, but they do evoke a lot of emotion from them, right?
And to go back to those department store routes, it's kind of organized like that in the gallery. You know, you've got a series of 5 that tell one story,
Yeah.
and it's one collective story there. And then a series of 4 that it's a different story, more about the human connection and touch. And then you've got a separate story that's more reds and more uh, anger or rage that comes through in
Right.
some of these pieces. With a visual installation there as well. What's cool about this exhibit is each story ends in victory, and then it connects to the mural that's right outside the window for the third
Right, right.
victory
Yeah.
there.
Talk to me a little bit about the installation itself, because I was really drawn to it, in particular the chairs that are in the installation
So
and the fact that they weren't sitting,
they weren't flat.
they're
As
in
Liz
flat
called
and
it.
they're
Liz
kind
is
of, yeah.
right.
Talk
Here,
about that a little bit.
so here in the South, you know, most conversations we have are across a table. If you're having it at home, if you're getting under your child for report cards or what are we doing, like where are we going, what are we planning, it's all over the table, the kitchen table. I know it especially was in our household, and we have so many conversations there, good, bad, and ugly. But eh, there are different barriers between us as people that some people can overcome, some people can't, some accept, some do not. But it's meant to show that tension between, and sometimes you leave the table just jubilated, and you know your chairs go flying back, or sometimes you storm off and you're super mad and your chairs go flying back. But I just didn't want them flat on the
Flat.
floor, and I just didn't want people sitting in them. You know, if we really get down to it, you know, like just wallowing out the chairs. You know, like I'm exhausted. I want to sit down here on this piece of art because they don't think it's an art. They think it's a chair. So let's just stay on the
Let's change that
chairs.
perspective there a little bit. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What are some projects that you might be involved in here in the future that you're excited about? Do you got some stuff coming up that
So
you're
coming up, the 15th of July, we will open a huge installation in the connector at the mill. Susie Garrett and I.
okay?
So it's coming up. That's kind of a big deal because that's a big space, and
Okay.
the planning and the logistics and the getting everything together while everything else that's been going on is going on has been quite a feat. But super excited about that project coming up. So July 15th, you'll have to check it out.
Let's go. Um, Another question that I like to ask different creatives and artists is around AI and how it's sort of infiltrating different industries, especially the art world. I find it really interesting. I'm curious on your thoughts on what you think the future of it is in the art world, how you interact with it, and what's your sort of reaction to people using it in design, in art, in expressing themselves in different ways?
So Good question. We'll start with the how I use it.
Yeah.
I love it as a tool,
Okay.
as an assistant. Before AI, I feel like you had to be a certain caliber of artist to afford to have grant writers, these people that worked on your behalf, to get you the money, to get you in the exhibits, to get you hooked up with these right people. You had to pay people. This was what they did for a living, and I feel like that opens up a huge door for your everyday artist. So you got
Okay.
this great tool in your back pocket that you can use.
I wish you got some like team support with you via
Absolutely
AI
right.
platform. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So you can troubleshoot, you can bounce ideas off of it.
Okay.
It sometimes it'll make you think about things in different ways because it's got that database and knowledge that we might not have experienced yet. So I think
Sure.
it's a great tool for use in moderation.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, it can have environmental effects, but you know, in moderation, I think in art, the way that it's being used now, globally in New York and Paris, it's AI art that's living, that's hallucinating, that's on these walls, but it's been programmed by an artist to do these things, to take the weather patterns for the past 2 decades and to swirl them into
Yeah.
this dynamic wall at the moment, you know,
Yeah.
or you go to Paris and it's running you through uh, decades, shit, centuries of art. Like, and it's just morphing in and out of it. I think it can be beautifully done when it's done as AI art, but it's, you know, it's a great assistant.
So it seems like you're seeing it as just another medium to express whoever's sort of
Right.
perspective, point of view. They're using it as a tool, as you would a paintbrush or a canvas, and on, right?
Or anything else, you
Okay.
know, it's a tool there for your disposal. You know, if you want a 3-second poster, it'll give you a 3-second poster,
It
you
certainly
know?
will. Yeah, yeah.
Or, you know, if you want a lino cut hand carved poster, that's an option for you as well. But then
Sure.
it goes to that budget. Do you, as an artist, do you have the budget to have somebody hand carve that for you?
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, it's got its pros and cons. I use it as a tool. So I guess I'm in the middle of the road on it. I find it helpful, but I can see the pitfalls of it.
Yeah, I think I think there are plenty of pitfalls, but also I'm really interested to see where things go and how people utilize it in creative ways. And that might be it, right? If you're curating it, if you're prompting it in creative ways, then there's a creative outlet there. There's an expression there
Right.
that can't be ignored, right?
For somebody that may not be gifted with a paintbrush or they
Oh,
start
yeah.
with this, you know,
Right, yeah.
it's a digital realm of art.
Sure.
So
Okay.
it's putting art into the hands of people who may not have had it before
Okay.
or been expressive before.
Yeah. As a seasoned mixed media and installation artist, let's hear some advice to young artists out there that are trying to get a footprint down on their expression, their art. So, you got some advice to give out to anybody?
Hustle. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Don't wait on it to be handed to you. You have
Right.
to go out and you have to make it happen. You have to be your biggest advocate, your biggest cheerleader, you know,
Yeah.
and you get out there and hustle because I think in this day and age, with the internet and AI, it's just instant, instant, instant. You know,
Yeah.
we're used to that. I mean, Amazon, we have it in 2 days or less. You have to put in the work. You
Yeah.
know, you've got to put in the haul. So stay with it. It'll get you where you want to go if you put in the work.
Yeah, I think the big thing there is just produce, right? Just
A
start
body of work.
producing, good or bad or
Just
indifferent,
start
right? You
and
just gotta
hustle
really, yeah.
and believe in yourself. Don't care what other people think of your work. If it's your work, if it made you feel good, if it got a reaction, good, bad, or ugly, then it did its job as art.
Agreed.
But don't look for validation in other people. Trust yourself.
I love that. That's really good. Just produce. Very good.
Yeah.
I have so many more questions, but we're coming up on time. Thank you so much for being here. You can check out your Instagram at Design, right, at Instagram, and then also TaylorMcLendonDesign.com. Also, check out Low Mill Arts
Yes, you'll find me on
Entertainment,
there.
obviously, and then see your exhibit if you're here in town. It's wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Everybody give it up
Thank you
for
for having
Taylor.
me.
So on. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. All right.